We're going to get started exactly at 11 because it's historic to do that. So get warm, rub your hands together, use your pockets. And in the Army, we call pockets Air Force gloves.
Yes.
And we have the Legion over here and the auxiliary over here. And we want to thank the auxiliary for all the work that they've done. And after this, you're all invited to come over and have some refreshments, courtesy of the auxiliary, which is great. I'm going to ask Peter Sherber to introduce our dignitaries in session today.
Good morning. Nahant Mortimer G. Robbins Post of Nahant, Massachusetts would like to recognize and thank the following dignitaries. I believe it's State Representative Peter Capano, who represents Westland and Nahant, is in attendance. Selectman Mark Cullinan.
Hey, yay!
Selectman Gene Canty.
Yay!
Former Selectman, Vietnam veteran Richard Lombard.
Yay!
Former Selectman Mike Manning. If I forget anyone, please excuse me. We have Nahant Police Chief Matthew Furlong.
Hey!
I believe Selectman Josh Antrim is on his way. Might be a little tardy. And I'm looking through the crowd. And Town Manager Anthony Barletta is in the background. Didn't forget him.
Thanks. And Tony came through with a generator for us, so we have electricity, so you can hear my stentorian tones. Oh, and we have firefighters joining us here. Thank you for your service, guys. And I would like to recognize Seth Moulton. He can't be here today, but he sent a very nice letter in support of the veterans and what we do and what we've done. Oh, right. Senator Crichton was here earlier. He said he had 8 of these to go to this morning, so he came by, said hey, and said good things about us, and then had to go. I think it's close enough to 11. I would like to introduce Reverend Dr. Eleanor Fisher, former lieutenant in the Coast Guard Auxiliary, who will give the invocation.
Dear God, we gather on this sacred occasion to ask that you guide and direct us as we say thank you to those who have served America. While those who died are always remembered, we also thank and honor all who served honorably in the military, in wartime or peacetime. We are mindful of our gratitude to the living veterans and their families for their service, to acknowledge that their contributions to our national security are appreciated, and to underscore the fact that all those who served, not only those who died, have sacrificed and done their duty. When fighting during World War I stopped on November 11, 1918, we thought it was the end of the war to end all wars. We were wrong. On this day, with thanksgiving and prayer, let each of us do our part to perpetrate peace through goodwill and mutual understanding between ourselves, our neighbors, and nations. And would you all please join with me and say amen.
Amen.
Thank you, dear. We're related by marriage.
See the ring?
So I would ask all those who are sitting who can stand safely to do so for the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Unlike Memorial Day, when we honor our war dead, Veterans Day is the day when we honor all our veterans, peace or war, past and present, for their contribution to the safety and security of this country and our allies around the world. And why do we celebrate Veterans Day every year on this day? It's because just before dawn, on November 11th, 1918, during World War I, the war-weary German armistice delegation and Allied command signed a ceasefire or armistice agreement to begin as soon as they could arrange it. They selected a time for this armistice that would easily translate into a simple message that went beyond the various language barriers. Thus it was agreed that on the 11th hour of that 11th day of that 11th month of 1918, the guns would fall silent and the world's deadliest combat up to that time would end. November 11th quickly became a universal day of official remembrance in all the combatant countries. The end of that war was significant and well worth special recognition. A generation of men from Europe were lost, with 11 million war dead and twice that number wounded. For many years in this country, the holiday was known as Armistice Day, but in 1954, President Eisenhower extended the meaning of the holiday to all veterans, peace and war, and his intent was to ensure that all of the members of the uniformed services who have served our nation honorably do not go unremembered or unremarked on this day. And so today we remember that our veterans are special people. They did not and do not shrink from doing their duty, regardless of personal cost, and as long as the world remains a dangerous place, our military stands ready to answer the call to battle when so ordered. And it's worth mentioning on this day of days the full extent of the veterans' contributions to this country since it was founded in 1776. Our country has been involved in 103 official military conflicts, beginning with our war for independence. Many of these conflicts were what we might consider minor, and most are long forgotten. But what we should never forget and which should never be forgotten is the staggering price our veterans have paid to further and protect our national interests and those of our allies around the world. Our 13 so-called major armed conflicts have seen 1.4 million of us killed, with another 50,000 killed in our nation's 92 other armed conflicts. In all of these efforts, many more were wounded than killed, and the statistics do not and cannot accurately find a number for those who returned home damaged in some way by PTSD, family disintegration, job loss, and the poor general health our Veterans Administration struggles to cope with every day. Another statistic we won't see is the cost to our loved ones of these fallen and wounded veterans. Death, family separation, financial hardship, destroyed relationships are all part of and parcel of the burden our veterans carry. These tragic costs are borne by all veterans who know that it's the price we pay for freedom. Army soldiers, Navy sailors, Air Force airmen, United States Marines, Coast Guardsmen, and Space Force Guardians, right now and yesterday and tomorrow, wherever they are, doing what they must to keep this country free and prosperous. Of course, not all military veterans went to war, but their service and sacrifice is what we celebrate along with the combat veterans. Significantly to this point, we also deploy our veterans to provide humanitarian assistance and nation building when the shooting stops. Servicemen and women keep our records, maintain our equipment and our installations here and abroad, do the training, stay fit and ready, and are frequently absent from their families for days or weeks on end. Regardless of what they do or did, or where they are or were, all of them raised their right hands and swore the oath of commitment and service in war and peace, and that is what we honor and respect today, and hopefully all days. In closing my remarks, I would like to add that the latest information available shows that as of September of this year, there are an estimated 17.9 million U.S. military veterans in this country today, who represent about 6.8% of our population, age 18 and older. It is all of them we honor today, and also those millions who have passed into history. I would now ask the first officer to come forward and give his reading.
If there be glory in military service, it is the almost incredible spirit that it engenders. A tight bond is forged among those who train together, see military service together, suffer together, and triumph together. It should therefore not be the glory of war we praise, but rather the glory of the men and women who undergo the rigors of tough training, hard work, long hours, family separation, and the ever-present threat that they might be injured or die while they are in military service. Let us honor all our veterans and their sincere capacity for service to this country. I would now invite our auxiliary present, Esther Johnson, to come forward and give her reading.
The hurts of war fall upon those who wear the same uniform, no matter how they may differ in gender, race, religion, or language. Those who fight and train together and suffer together do so for a common purpose, service to this great nation. In the similarity of battle dress, there is a common denominator, the common purpose of selfless service. As we put aside our brown and blue and green uniforms that made us one of the parade field and on the battlefield, we can take with us the tolerance we learned while in uniform. It is the content of their character that defines veterans and the sacrifice they all made, not the color of their skin, place of worship, or how much money they have in the bank. We also need to think about the wisdom behind the old military saying, they also serve who stand and wait. The families of those in military service must live through the separation, the worry, managing the family, often alone, and those are special people we also recognize on this day. I would now invite the second officer to come forward for his reading.
Courage is one of the virtues born of war. Courage of individuals in the face of danger and courage of nations to protect the weak and punish the aggressor. There is bravery to be shown in peace as well. May we recapture the courage which turned the wilderness into cities that bound us together in government. We can turn slums into comfortable homes, turn uncertainty into certainty. We can reach new heights of civilization and opportunity for the men and women of this nation if we have the courage to expect and work for a better way of life, the bravery that fights for political, social, economic, and spiritual gains may be more difficult to practice, may be unsung when achieved, but are all the more precious and worth striving for. I would now invite the third officer to come forward for his reading.
The practice these days of telling veterans, thank you for your service, is good and goes a long way to heal old wounds from a time when the country blamed the warrior for the wars that they were called upon to fight. From defeating communism, fascism, and imperialism, and to winning the war on drugs. Veterans have accomplished remarkable things. These are the citizens in active service the reserves, and the National Guard, who know the price of freedom is a promissory note signed with their blood, should it come to that. And so today, we have gathered to pay tribute to the veteran, to all veterans. It is in their name and memory that we have assembled and proudly salute them. Post 215. Attention. Present arms. Order arms.
Please remain standing for the benediction by Reverend Fisher.
Dear God, creator and source of all that is good, as we observe Veterans Day, we desire, with your help, to preserve in the hearts and lives of all Americans the spirit of patriotism, the love of country, and the willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good as symbolized by this very special day. We thank you for the opportunity to come and gather this day. We give thanks for our blessings and every gift that we have been given, and ask that you would continue to guide us so that from this moment on, our lives will be full of wisdom, productivity, and respect for one another. Thank you for helping us to accomplish this work and our goals this day. May God be gracious to us and bless us, and make his face shine on us. Would you all join with me and say amen?
Amen.
And so on behalf of Mortimer G. Robbins, American Legion Post 215 in Nahant, I thank you once again for your attention today and invite you to join us for refreshments across the street at the lifeboat station. Thank you so much.